What's up, HyperFast Nation? On this episode of the show, I am going to take a deep dive into 6 ways to get off-market listings. In this environment, you want to know how to find homes before they hit the MLS. So stay tuned for this episode of the HyperFast Show. What's up, HyperFast Nation? Right now, we are in a low inventory market, right? We've been in this kind of low inventory market for a few years. The last 6, 7, 8 months, we're in it for a different reason, right? So at the start of the pandemic, throughout the pandemic, I think, there was just so much buyer activity. Every time you listed something, right, you get multiple offers, and there was a lot of churn in the market, right? Boom, 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 a lot of churn. Well, when interest rates rose from 3 to in the 6s, mid 6s, that put a stop to the market, right? We didn't really see prices come down a lot. Some markets we did, a little bit at least, but many markets prices stayed the same, but transaction count went down. Specifically, I think move-up buyers, right? A lot of people that are locked into a 3% rate, they're going to stay put longer, they're going to renovate, they're going to maybe do an addition rather than move up, and they can take out a home equity line if they need, but keep the main loan at 3%. So, that doesn't really have a ton of impact on pricing, right? Because it takes a buyer and a seller out of the market if they're a move-up buyer. But as a real estate agent, it's taking away inventory, right? So right now, in many markets, we're seeing this phenomenon where there's not a ton of transactions, but if a listing comes on at the right price, it's getting multiple offers, it's going quickly. And, it can be frustrating if you're an agent out there working with a ton of buyers, but, not finding inventory for them, losing out potentially when the right stuff comes up. So you need to think, how do I go out and get more listings, right? How do I get more listings? One of the ways to do that is to get good at finding deals off market. All right, this is something that I started off early on in my career doing a lot of, and it really was a way to find a solution to client problems. I would have clients, this was 2011, 12, looking for a certain type of inventory. DC, Arlington area was low inventory then, just like it is now, and I would have to go find what they wanted off the MLS. So I got good at multiple ways of finding things off market. Guess what? A lot of those techniques still work really well today. All right, the first thing I like to do, like if you're working with buyers, you have their criteria, you know their price point, their neighborhood, the home type, the views they want, all that. Chances are there's not a ton of homes that fit their criteria. There might be 100, 200, 300, right? There's typically not going to be like thousands that would be in the right, location, street, price, all that. So typically you're going to have 100 or less, I've found. So come up with that list, right? Go through the criteria, go through the tax records, figure out which homes will work, and then go knock on doors, right? Put some miles on your shoes, right? So go knock on doors, and if people answer, great. Tell them you're a real estate agent. Have business cards ready. You have you have a buyer looking for a home just like theirs, and that because of the low inventory, they might be surprised by the price they can get for their home. I would always use a line like that, and tell them you can work with them to sell the home without showings, without prep, without open houses, without all the things that sellers don't like to do, and that you can work on their timing, right? Sellers are going to like that. Now, here's another thing you want to do. When you're knocking on doors, you're not going to get more than half answer, so you want to have a simple note. All right, I talk about this in the Hyperlocal, HyperFast Real Estate Agent book. It's the book I wrote about how I sold $22 million of real estate in my first year. You want to write a simple note. It says, "Dear homeowner," right? And I would photocopy and do the same one over and over again. I would put it in an unmarked envelope, slide it under the door if they didn't answer. All right, open rate on an unmarked envelope under the door is going to be super high. They think it's a neighbor dropping a note or something like that, right? So everyone's going to open it. The basic scenario, dear homeowner, I have a buyer looking for a home in this area. yours will be perfect. Due to the low inventory, you might be surprised by the amount you would get for your home. I can work with you to sell on your timing and without all the stress, cost, and hassle of putting it on the market. That's it. So, true story, my first year in real estate, I had some buyers that wanted an end-unit townhome in a particular neighborhood. There were only 11 of them. I wrote 11 notes, just like that. Got 4 responses. I sold them one. I listed another one, and then a third one I sold to a buyer later down the road, like about a year later. So, pretty damn high conversion rate, right? Like I got 4 responses out of 11, and sold 3 of those homes. So, get your list, door knock, right? Leave notes. Second part. Different wrinkle, but same strategy. You get the list and you make calls, right? You're gonna call the list of homeowners, right? Again, it's probably in most cases going to be 100 or less per buyer client. Now, I'm talking what to do if this is a scenario where you actually have a buyer looking for that type of home, so you're not completely doing like a bait and switch. Like there are some people out there that will unscrupulously say they have a buyer and they really don't. So. Change your scripts up, your notes, if you don't actually have a specific buyer, right? But the phone call is going to be the same, right? I've got a buyer looking for a house just like yours. If there's any possibility that you would sell it, even if it's a year out, let's talk, right? In both of these scenarios, by the way, I start with getting a showing and commission agreement just for the buyer side. Because I really do want to come across as honest and truthful and ethical about the fact that I'm coming to them because, I do have a particular buyer. So I like to, in this scenario, get just an agreement for showing and a buyer commission. And then, if they end up not liking it or not buying it, I'll go back to the seller and tell them, like, look, it didn't work out for this reason, right? I give them specific feedback. I might have interested buyers, that it could work for. Would you be open to me showing it to other people? And, I know it's 6 months before you're getting serious about selling, or 3 months, or whatever their timing is. Are you open to a conversation about how I can help you list your home and get top dollar? You've seen that even without listing it, I'm able to bring buyers by. Imagine if I had the full marketing power of what I'm able to do for my listing clients, right? So that is a good way to transition from I have a buyer, seeing if the buyer likes it, to getting a listing appointment. Third way you should be looking for off markets is expireds. And we're going to do a whole another podcast on this in the next episode. So make sure you listen to the next episode strictly on expireds, right? But there are more expireds right now than there's been for a couple of years, and less agents hunting them. I think in 2016, 17, 18, 19, a lot of agents got good at expireds, just like they would in any normal market. And then a lot of those agents stopped doing it in 2020, 2021, even 2022. Right? Because other sales got a little easier for them, right? So agents got lazy, gave up the skill, and now there's more expireds and less agents doing it. So spend an hour or two every day hunting expireds. And we're going to do a whole episode on this one. So I'm not going to talk too much about it, but it's something that is just a skill that anyone can acquire, anyone can do. You just have to pick up the phone and make phone calls. Number 4, look for absentee owners, right? A lot of times absentee owners, they're easy to find in the tax list. And I think you should have a whole marketing campaign set up on absentee owners. A lot of them, a lot of them don't like the ongoing maintenance, the hassle of it. They've got built up equity, maybe they've got different plans. So that's a whole other subset. You can treat it like a geographic farm, right? Like do a, once a month or twice a month postcard to absentee owners in the neighborhoods that you want to do business in. Number 5, rental listings. All right. A lot of times, looking for active rental listings is a good way to get off-market inventory. All right, so if you see homes listed for rent, especially if they're vacant, especially if it's an owner that only has a couple of them, right? So if there's owners that own one or two rentals and they have a vacancy, a lot of them get scared because, a lot of them don't have enough reserves, they don't have enough contingency plans, and one vacancy a lot of times can cause a landlord to want to sell. So rental listings are a great way, or if you can look and see whose leases are coming up, that's another great way. I think one we might see in the future is Airbnbs. There's been, even though Airbnb traffic is up, there's more people doing short-term rentals on the demand side. The supply side is up even more. So some of the newbies getting into this, not all, but some, probably are going to struggle. They probably over-budgeted or over-projected occupancy rates, over-projected what, the money it would bring in. So I think, Airbnbs could be another source that I would kind of put in that rental listing category. The last one, and I talked a lot about this in my book, again, the Hyperlocal, HyperFast Real Estate Agent, is gatekeepers. So find people that know who is moving in and out of neighborhoods, of areas, right? This could be the community managers. It could be people that are the doorman, front desk people in condo buildings, all right? It could be the neighborhood dry cleaner. There's so many, people in HR departments, right? There's all sorts of examples. And they typically know who in a company, who in a neighborhood, who in a building is moving in and out before anyone else, right? A lot of times they're the first to find out. My first year in the business, I got over half of the market share in one condo building. And one of the strategies I used was, spending time with the community manager, the people that worked the desk, because they saw people coming in and out, talk to everyone, and they would tell me, yeah, so-and-so's thinking about moving, so-and-so's going to have a baby, right? So I would know a lot of times before people were moving out, and then I would just reach out directly to them. So gatekeepers. All right. In the next episode, I'm going to dive a little bit more into expired listings, how to find them, how to get the appointment, what to do on the appointment to get them, everything you want to know about expired listings. So make sure you stay tuned for that. And finally, I'd like to talk a little bit about the opportunity to partner with me at eXp. For those of you who don't know, my wife and I, Carrie Shaw, took our $732 million sales team to eXp Realty. A lot of huge teams, a lot of huge agents are going there right now, and specifically a lot are joining our group. In our group at eXp Realty, we're going to give you coaching, we're going to give you training. We've got multiple weekly Zooms, right? You're going to have low commission caps. You're going to have the opportunity to build revenue share, and we're going to help you do all that. Like, we've actually built a lot of systems out that help people come in, scale their sales business, scale their agent attraction business to build revenue share. If you want to learn more about that opportunity, all you need to do is text me, 703-638-4393. Again, if you want to learn about the opportunity to partner with Carrie and I at eXp Realty, I would be honored if you would text me at 703-638-4393. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of the HyperFast Show. I'll see you next time.